Thank you for listening to Fem Talk 89 FM. We are on air in Suva, and it is time for another episode of this new season of Radio with Pictures on MyTV. Thanks to the support of UNDP's CAFE program, supported by the European Union, DFET, and the International Women's Development Agency, as well as Oxfam.
Welcome back to another episode of Radio with Pictures. Feminist and women's organizations have been central actors in defining the post-2015 development agenda and also will be crucial for its implementation. Throughout the negotiations, women's rights groups have continued to push for an ambitious outcome that will set the path for the UN summit in September. Here at the local level, there's a need to support youth and women in the community to have access to information just about the development planning process and how development programs are implemented in their communities. How can they use this information for their own empowerment? How can they access decision-making structures at the time that suits them and not just in the evenings? At the local level, we've heard the need to continue to support women to be able to participate and to overcome the challenges, to be able to identify for themselves the challenges and the solutions to these challenges. This is some of what we've been talking about through our Women's Human Security First campaign that we started back in 2014, and issues that have continued to be raised through this series of Radio with Pictures. So whether it's the national development process or the sustainable development goals, one message is clear: that without gender equality, without the full realization of women's rights, you're not going to have sustainable development, which is linked to the peace and human security of these communities. To discuss this and their issues, we have Akesa Lewamotu. Akesa is a member of the executive of the Suva Market Vendors Association. We have Salochna Lal from the Nari Shakti Mothers Club of Nosori. We have Mere Wairita Naisiri from the Vatani Women's Club. She has joined us from the island of Kamba. And Bulo Verebunuya of Femlink Pacific, who is our coordinator, correspondent and convener now for the Central Division, given that Fem Talk 89 FM now reaches Navua through to Nosori with our 300-watt transmitter. Let's start talking about your roles. Akesa, you're a leader in the market, in the Suva market. How easy is it for you to be a market vendor as well as a leader in the Market Vendors Association?
Well, Sharon, first of all, I have to look for someone to come and look after my stall before I go out to attend a meeting or go out collecting money if somebody died, all the things that we have to do. So I have to look for someone to come and do the selling in my stall.
How long have you been a market vendor?
More than 3 years now.
And what's one of the reasons that you decided to set up your little stall at the market?
I'm just feeling boring staying at home, so I just tell myself this is a better thing to do. So I just started off selling at the market, and I started off with selling coconuts from coral.
Coconuts from coral?
Yes.
So what do you sell now?
Now I'm selling virgin coconut oil, virgin soap, honey, kuru soap, voi, and other things that women will use in rural areas.
How do you organize yourself? Because you're obviously got responsibilities at home, and then you've got to come and sell at the market, which would be 6 days a week?
5 days a week.
5 days a week. So what do? You're managing and working both in the home and in the market. When do you sleep?
Well, me and my partner, if I come out, my partner will look after my stall. And at home, I always ask my nephew to help me with house chores. And whenever I reach home, I always ask him, please, I want you to ready the food when I reach home, do the washing and everything for me, because I'm just feeling really tired reaching home. So I can't do anything else.
So you're very lucky to have that kind of support, yeah?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Salochna, you're a member of the Nari Shakti Mothers Club, and you've been quite active this year. You got a UNDP SCAFE grant. Tell us a little bit about that project. What were you doing?
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Firstly, I would like to thank UNDP for funding us, giving the SCAFE funding, and because they made us this capable to come out in public and talk or either share our feelings. UNDP had funded me $5,000, which we have received 80% already, and with this, within this 80%, I had done a workshop in leadership, senior citizens, and empowering women. So I have done these three, which was a very successful one, and I'm really proud to have done something for my review community, because there was never any workshop done in my Visaya village before. So my people were not aware of what a workshop is and what it really means and what it does to the people. So
why did you pick these thematic areas, apart from the fact that the training and the empowerment needed to reach them in their own community? Why did you have a focus, for example, on the elderly?
Okay, this is because I have elderly in my family first. That's my in-laws. So I actually give good care of them. So keeping this in my mind, I expected the same to other elderlies in my community as well. Empowering women. As a woman, I want to be empowered first before I empower others. I want women to be leaders because I believe women are the good leaders in the house, and I want them to move out as well to be the community leader, and of course to their country leader as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Saloshna. Mary Wairita, tell us about Vatani Women's Club. What do you do? How often do you meet? What are some of the club activities taking place?
I represent 44 women in Vatani, and most of the thing we do in the village, we do weaving. We go out at sea, collect seafood, and sell it in the market. That's what we are doing in the village.
Okay. And how often do you meet as a club, and what are some of the issues that you're discussing?
We mostly meet every Monday every week. If we do not come across any Fijian ceremony or Christian ceremony, that's we normally meet and do the weaving or what else we can do in there.
How do you receive much information from the mainland, from Vitilevu, living out in the island?
Thank you, Sharon. Because Watani is far away. It's 6 miles away from the mainland, which is 45 minutes to travel by boat. We do not have electricity, and we don't have the roads, which the only transport we are having is to travel by boat, and that's how we don't receive more news from the mainland.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Bulo, you're now responsible for convening monthly network meetings in Nosori, but also going out and producing radio programs with women's groups in the Central Division, now that we've expanded Fem Talk 89 FM in Suva. What are the issues that women are raising from their clubs? What are they talking about as leaders?
Nursery convener is when we have our 1325 monthly meeting. There are many issues that women leaders have been brought up, including health security, personal security, and also infrastructure.
Example, so when you talk about health security, what are they saying? Is it the same as what we've been hearing on radio with pictures, the lack of medical personnel, not enough medicines, the distance they have to travel to and from the hospital?
Yes. Like Anna have been mentioned, because they're living in Wusia. When they arrive at the nursery health center, they have to buy medicine from the pharmacy because they don't know. But in relation to economic security, they don't have enough money to buy from the pharmacy.
Okay, thanks. Mary White Rita, coming to you, because it's a 45-minute boat ride from your island to the mainland, and then you have to travel again to get to Nosori Health Center. What do you do to access health? When somebody gets sick in your community, what do you do? How do you get to the hospital?
We do travel by boat, and we had our women's club do have fundraising at every Monday if we do not come across any ceremonies or church ceremonies. We do sell out dollar per serve for all the foods around us, or we go out at sea, collect seafood or fishing or catch prawns or crabs and sell it for $1 per serve. And we had it there. We had that money for when it's come to emergency, then we use that money.
So if there was a woman who was about to give birth, how would she get to the maternity unit? When would she have to go by boat for the delivery? Do you have to organize all of that? We heard in Nandranga that in some places where there's no proper road, people have to go by horse and then find an ambulance or somebody to either come and deliver the baby or get the woman to the maternity unit. How do you manage with those kinds of issues from your island?
From my island in Vatani, mostly the Turanikoro always address the woman who, pregnant lady. If they are coming to 8 months, they're supposed to leave the village and come to a nearby house or nearby places to come to be.
So you have family on the mainland where they would go and stay?
Yes.
Yeah. What are the development priorities you want to see addressed for your island community now that we're discussing the National Development Plan?
My key priority issue is access to clean, safe drinking water. Has been there since we inherit our land.
Okay. And how long has that been?
It was there since my ancestors' time.
Okay.
If nothing will be done, it will continue to my daughters' and granddaughters' time. Because the main reason, it was far from the mainland. 6 miles away, 45 minutes to travel by boat. It's 150 return just to fetch water.
So you're surrounded by the ocean, but you don't have clean drinking water?
I don't have clean.
What do you do then?
We just have the water come from the rain. And we have the big tank.
Okay, so you're one of the people that likes it when it rains this side of
Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you raised this with anyone?
Yes, we bring up to the Mbosini Tikina and the Turanikoro approach the provincial council, the government, to talk about the issue, and the government asked us to look for the site for a borehole. We had the site, we already had the site, but it was from 2014. Till now, nothing happened.
Okay, so you've located somewhere that's got a good water supply for the borehole.
They already come and
they've done the survey.
The survey, but the water will end up to seawater again.
Ah, okay. So
it won't be the pure water that we want. It will be.
Okay. So what's your solution? How can this issue be solved for you? As you said, you don't want, you've had to deal with it. You've got your children and your grandchildren now you're thinking about. How could this be solved if the borehole issue doesn't work? Do you need a pipe?
Yes, I need a pipe. The previous government, the former government will be doing the Kamba-Cuba Peninsula Road, the construction will start on about the end of this year, if it's right, if they're going to do it right from this year. And the transport will reach Skamba, the road will reach Skamba. So when the road will reach Skamba, then the people of Kamba can have the safe drinking water.
So you're relying on this road development to be able to get the water pipe running across to the island?
Yes, because Sharon, we almost done everything. We come across every plan that we managed to do. We can't have the pipes come across to Botany.
Water is a key issue across Fiji. Salochana, you mentioned health as a priority. What would you like to see addressed in the National Development Plan and the National Budget, particularly the National Budget for 2016?
Okay. I would rather like to see big changes in Nursery Health Center, since I have done some of my researches on this. well, going to the hospital, some of my own, and I have interviewed some of the patients as well. There is very lack of space in Nosori Health Center because there's always 350 to 400 patients per day, where there is only one ECG machine, and there's just only 4 beds to cater if a person is with the trips. There's so many of the young and old, when we go and see, they're sitting on the chairs with the trips. So that is not a reliable thing to sit on a chair and have the trips done while a patient is sick. We usually expect if there's something to lie on to rest. So there's very lack of bed, lack of space, I say, lack of medication, and so is the medical facilities.
And this is the subdivisional medical center that you're talking about. So it's not just catering for Rewa, but also Tailevu and Naitasiri as well.
Yeah, for these 3 provinces.
So you're talking about the need to upgrade the medical center.
Really, yeah. Because if a person has to be done a blood checkup, there is no facility of blood checkup in Nosori Health Center. A person has to drive or to go by bus to Wanimbakasi, where we can have the blood checkup. So as I'm always focused on my senior citizens, there's so many of them who are really reliant on this social welfare. So at times they don't get enough money in their pocket to travel to Wanimbakasi again. So this is a very big issue that I'm always focused on.
Thank you, Salochana. Akesa, for the Supermarket Vendors Association, is there a specific ask in terms of the National Development Plan and the national budget for 2016 in terms of how the market operates, the regulations, even for the bylaws of the market? I'm learning more from you about markets and how they operate. So what do market vendors need in the National Development Plan and budget?
Thank you, Sharon. I'll be speaking for us in Section A and B in the development planning. We really need to have a CCTV camera in a section because we are vendors. We buy our produce and we have to sell it to earn money. And some of us, they brought their produce, the supplier bring the produce and they have to pay them later. And the need for us to have the CCTV camera because we always lose our produce from our stall. And you may be asking, why are we losing our produce? Because we are not look after it? No. Because people been stealing our produce, they're thinking that by stealing it's going to satisfy them, knowing very well that they're going to create a very big problem for us because we are not going to pay up on time. Even we won't be able to pay our stall fees.
So this is security in the market. You're not casual vendors. You've got permanent stalls. So when you talk about CCTV, you're talking about increase the security in the market. Why are people stealing? Is it, apart from just causing trouble, is it because they just don't have enough for themselves?
Sharon, there's a lot of unemployment people in our community now. You can say that maybe some vendor stealing somebody else's produce. You may be right. But for me, unemployment people roaming around in town thinking that, okay, I'm just going to go and steal something from there, just go and sell it at a cheaper price so that I can get my bus fare home or buy my lunch. That's what they're thinking because that's what's been happening to us. So that's why we really need to have a CCTV camera so that we can catch those kind of people so that we can be aware of them in the future.
Bulo, you're now the convener and correspondent across the Central Division now that Femtalk 89 FM has expanded its coverage from Nabua through to Nosori. And as we've heard from Akesa, Salochana and Meriwairita, we're talking about issues of unemployment causing problems even in the supermarket in terms of theft. Salochana would like to see an upgrade of the hospital services or the medical services based in Nosori town. And then we've got Meriwairita and her issue of water supply, which for me is like an issue that the women in Malamala and Nandi talk about, they've been talking about for 30, 40 years. Are these similar issues that you're hearing as you go out and make radio programs with the women?
Thank you, Sharon. Yes, for the Nosori 1325, Nosori women leaders have been come up with all the issues that my faculties have been brought up, including nursery market vendors and the health services, plus the water supply from Naimalwao in Thailand.
So, as a young woman then below, why do you think these issues have continued, into your generation? Because these are issues that women have been facing for a while, particularly the access to health issues and water. What changes do you want to see in the development planning process?
For example, for the water supply, as the young women, we need water because it's our needs, and also for the health services. Yes, in regards to the teenage pregnancy, that we need more awareness. So, and also for the health services to be upgraded. So there can be no problem in visiting the hospital.
Well, why have these problems continued?
I think there's a shortage of nurse and doctors in hospital. So it can take us a long time to be in a long queue.
So do you think it's that women come to you then, Mary Wairita? Why do you think this problem has been allowed to continue when water is so important for everyone, but it's you as a woman leader, it's the women in our communities that keep raising the issue of water or health? Why are these changes not happening sooner?
Thank you, Sharon. It's because of the changes of the government. From Garcia government, they told us they're gonna come up with a water pipe to come up to reach Watani. They're gonna make one pipe right from Watoa to straight right to Kamba. And the other governments, now the former governments, is telling us, I think it's because of changes.
The changes in government mean the developments don't take place. So, Lochna, you've been doing some empowerment programs just in your own community of Busia and Rara level. Why has it taken this long, even though everyone can see the developments taking place around Nosori, the fact that Nosori supports communities outside of Rewa? You're talking about Naitasiri, you're talking about Tailevu as well. Why aren't women taken seriously? Why aren't the issues that you're raising being addressed?
I believe our elderlies were not that smart, or they were not aware of how to come out of these problems. Because now, as our young generation has been entering these new governments and within their own communities, they are new leaders. So they are coming up with the new ideas, I believe. This is why we are here to raise our voices. And I would like to thank Family Pacific for this, or giving this opportunity to us, some of us ladies who are coming out to share our point of views.
Should development planning change?
Yeah, it should change.
Did you and your club participate in the national consultations, for example? Were you there? Were you bringing up these issues when the consultation teams came out to Nosori?
I wasn't a part of that.
You weren't a part of that. So, how do you get into those spaces? How do we make sure that the government spaces are being inclusive of you as women?
I would rather request government, if such things have been happening, they should invite mothers' clubs, the ladies, to come up with their voices, because I believe ladies, they got good ideas. Because they are good managers, they manage their house very well, so they can manage the community. So they should be invited to be part of all this.
So for you, Akessa, thanks, Saloshna. So for you, Akessa, you're part of the Suva Market Vendors Association. How do you organize so that you, as the women, are also being heard by your president, John, and the others? Are women being supported to be heard, even if it's just the market issues?
Oh, yes. They're very supportive. Our executive members, they're very supportive of us women in the market, especially our union members. For our union members, when they bring something up like issues on their stall fees, they always come and ask us if we can talk to the council for them to reduce the stall fees. And for our stall fees in supermarket, we have three different kinds of three different fee. For a registered member, they have to pay $2.90 per block. For people outside rural vendors, they have to pay $3.40. And for our rural vendors, whom which we see around along the street, they have to pay $5.75 for a space. They have to sell their EV or fresh coconut.
And these are quite often the casual vendors,
Yes.
yeah? They're not...
And for that, we always fight for our vendors. And what comes to my surprise, last year we went for a tour, and then the cheapest market fee is from Nandi, and then Singatoka. The market master from Singatoka told us that whenever they come up with a fee, they'll ask the vendors if they can pay this much. If they agree, then they'll put that fee. If the vendors say, no, that's too much for us, so they won't pay. They'll come to the understanding where the vendors agree.
So this is the kind of decision-making, Salochna, would you like to see that kind of model of decision-making taking place on national issues as well, not just in terms of market fees?
Exactly, I agree with my sister. I exactly want this with my community as well.
Okay, thank you. So to wrap up this segment of Radio with Pictures, Mary Wairita, I'm going to ask you, 20 years down the line, I'm sure you don't just want water. What would you like to see in your village, and how would you like to see the situation of the Vatani Women's Club in 20 years' time?
In 20 years' time, Sharon has been mentioned, if the Kiwakamba Peninsula Road reaches Watani in that 2035, we are dreaming that the wharf will be in Watani.
Okay.
So we are a women's group. We need business operation in Watani, so we can open our cafeteria or shop or what else, service station, we can get out money to reach our plans.
So that will increase your economic security. Okay, Mbulo, very quickly to wrap up in terms of Central Division, looking beyond Nosori. You've been talking to women from Nasinu, from Suva, as well as Navua, Lami. What do women want to see happen in 20 years' time?
I want all their issues to be fulfilled, and also I want all the women to be part of the, at least 30% of the women to be part of the parliament.
30% of
30%,
women in.
yeah.
You sure it can't be 50% or 60 in 20 years?
Maybe 50.
Okay, thanks so much, Bulo Verebunuya from Femlink Pacific, our correspondent for the Central Division. Meriwairita Naisiri from the Vatani Women's Club. Thank you so much for joining us on Radio with Pictures. And of course, Salochna Lal from the Nari Shakti Mothers Club, and Akesa Lewamotu from the Suva Market Association. So glad that somebody's looking after your stall so you could be part of Radio with Pictures. Don't forget to join us for another episode at the same time next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. We will be back the same time next week for another episode of Radio with Pictures. And don't forget to tune in to Fem Talk 89 FM Suva if you're living in the Nosori-Navua corridor, or Fem Talk 89 FM Lambasa from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays in Lambasa town.